Okay.
Ready?
You know what's funny?
What's funny?
Did you know that Rosa Parks' husband had a car?
Okay. What about that? Oh, the fact, why was she even on the bus?
Like, was it broken? Like,
bro. Whoa. Well, you know.
Like,
it took me a second to tell that. It could have been broken. It could have been broken down. Maybe it was, he was working and she needed to be somewhere. Wow. Did she know her husband had a... It took me a second. I was like, what is this relevant? And then you think, wait a minute. Wow.
We are not a podcast.
No, we're not. What a start.
We are Social Sabotage. And we're going to get into a video by Chris Williamson. He had a conversation with Eric Weinstein a few months ago.
Okay.
Almost a year ago. Basically, the evolution in the women's preferences in men and how it's kind of changed over time and the whole sex appeal thing. Yeah, it's wild. So let's dive into that right
Do you find that heterosexual women, respond to classical masculinity? I have to be very careful as I ask, because they certainly respond more than they're supposed to according to modern rules of femininity.
Correct.
But my guess is that it's greatly decreased from the market for masculinity in the 60s, let's say.
So look, again, inter and intrasexual dynamics, something I've spent an awful lot of time learning about. I'm writing a book at the moment with David Buss, evolutionary psychologist, on this. In the early 2010s, after the success of 50 Shades of Grey, there was a proliferation of dark romance novels, and there was a pushback from the feminism movement saying that the portrayals of men as dominant, masculine, bearded, big-chested, in a loincloth or a plaid shirt, wielding an axe, wasn't what women wanted. They wanted a softer, more...
Like the brawny guy or the Marlboro man.
Correct. They wanted a softer version of this. So they started putting more agreeable, more feminized men on the front cover of books. They didn't sell.
Right, but I wouldn't guess that either of those would be where modern women's heads would be at now.
In the space of 10 years. So I think that there's massively a difference between stated and revealed preferences.
Sure.
Right. And also to caveat that, the thing that you may sexually fantasize about is not necessarily what you want to get into a relationship with. Guys will say
more.
That what you optimize for in a one-night stand and what you optimize for in a marriage partner aren't always necessarily the same thing.
I would think that...
Facts.
That is very true. And I think that's a great point. Because things get conflated. Think about that. The bad boy image, things like that.
Yeah.
The guys that make them feel good, they know they shouldn't deal with them.
Right.
Even guys. We know the girls that we can take serious and the ones we can't. All right, she's a good time. We'll do our thing, do this. I'm not going to commit to it. She should know what this is.
Yeah.
Vice versa. And we know that. I think both sexes inherently know that. I agree with that. That is a good point. That is, man, this is good, man.
Yeah.
Good find.
It would be wildly disparate.
Correct. Which means that the front cover of the romance novel is not necessarily the partner that you want long term. They're the one that you want to fantasize about. Most of these stories are driven by sex rather than driven by love.
So I have this hypothesis, and I wonder if you have names for all sorts of things that...
Before you give me it, I just need to bunch this up. Your penchant for acronyms.
Yeah.
And a friend, Mary, says, meme first, explain later. And I think that some of my favorite episodes, they rely on aphorisms. They rely on creating memes.
Sure.
Small, quippy razors and so on and so forth. First off, because it makes it easier to remember, but secondly, because that's what gets the hooks into you.
Yeah.
This is how you make things. So if you are somebody that's listening that has an idea, that really loves that idea, give it a name. Give it a name and give it a cool name.
Yeah.
I came up with Fame's Seesaw the other day, which is that on your way up, people want to support you because you remind them of their dreams. When you're at the top, they tear you down because you remind them of what they gave up on.
Yeah. Ooh. This man. Dropping bars and
Okay.
little nuggets.
Okay.
Jeez, I haven't. It's been a while since I visited his content, man.
Yeah, that's a bar though. I mean,
Jeez.
that is very true though. People have that regret, especially if there are people who they kind of support you. They kind of support you from a distance.
Okay.
They're not like directly in the mud with you. But once you've made it to that level, they're the kind of people in the long run to be like, you've changed. You've changed a lot.
So why do you think this creates that paradigm that then why do they want to tear you down, or they don't like seeing you where they didn't, because they didn't follow through with their dreams?
Because you're not as relatable to them anymore.
Okay.
When you're up here, you're no longer relatable. And everybody wants someone they can relate to.
Understandably.
That's part of being in a group. That's a part of being that collective
But
mindset.
if you were with me, even from a distance, and you championed for me to be the best, did you never think I was going to obtain it? Or were you just there to watch, and then if I failed, haha, I told you so? What does that mean then? Was that person really ever champion for you?
Let's look at it in the framework of marriages and how men can be super, super successful.
Okay.
And then wives can still have these affairs on the side.
Okay.
Look at it like in the military. Now, granted, guys can be out cheating on their own when they're getting sent out. But, I mean, the amount of times that women have had affairs on base.
Oh, yeah, extramarital sex, yeah.
Yeah. When you have the husband out there fighting for the country,
Yeah.
that's wild to me.
Yeah, and I guess there's this whole thing where they... What is it? What's the excuse is usually that it's because he's not there, or they're not getting the attention. It's
Right.
like, what you were dealing with when you picked, whether it was the military or you picked that man that's very ambitious and hyper driven. They're gonna pour 80 to 100 hours of their life into whatever that is they're supposed to do. So why even deal with them then?
They're supportive in them following their dreams until they realize that those dreams are taken away from time with them, aka making it where they're less relatable, spending less time.
But they're attracted to the status though, because the status and the income that comes with it.
Yeah, but there's more needs than just that.
Well, absolutely, we all can agree with that. But
So the other guys in this predicament are fulfilling those other needs.
I see that.
If you look at it a percentage to 70-30, a guy is able to hit 70% of her needs, but it's that 30% that she really, really wants that he can't give her. So she goes after the guy with the 30%.
So is that her wanting a cake and trying to eat it too?
Essentially, though. So she goes to the guy for 30%, she's with the guy for 30%, and she realizes that, oh, I really do miss that 70% because he's not able to give you that extra 70% that she had with the guy.
So why compromise the 70% for the 30%?
Because that 30% is so alluring.
I get it, man. It's nature. It's
When you have most of what you want and you don't have that one thing.
You can't have it all.
Yeah.
No one can have it all. It's not possible.
Right.
Jeez.
It's wild.
And one of my strong senses is that women encountered something they weren't expecting, which is that they might even be smarter than the guy at work who they're competing with, but he's happy to come in all of Saturday, all of Sunday, and work hours that are completely psychotic. And so then the idea of, well, we need work-life balance. We don't want people coming in on Friday and Saturday because that's sort of an unfair advantage that somebody who wants a healthy life is different from somebody who wants an extreme life. And so now you have this problem, which is I'm attracted to the sort of man I wouldn't want to compete with at work. If I'm going to be in the office, I want to know that I'm not going to have to deal with the guy who's willing to give up every weekend and work hours that I'm unwilling to work because that's not how I'm set at the factory.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what we're saying, though. It's
interesting, but so do you believe there's a such thing as work-life balance?
I think we try to achieve that as much as possible. Like, that's, for me, I've been fighting for it because I've been a workaholic for as long as you know.
Yeah,
for the better part of 10, 12 years. Been just kind of working our ass off, trying to achieve some sort of dream.
Of course.
There needs to be balance because you get lost in it. You don't have, if you're always working, you don't have that kind of time to build the connections that are really important in life. And what happens is you end up in a place where you're 50 years old and you don't have this family that you could have had. And I know we've talked about this on other episodes. You don't have this family you could have had, and you don't, but you have all of these assets, but no one to share them with.
Okay, but at the same time, when looking for potential partners, how would one who's been in that kind of lifestyle, you would say that's given their life to the career, to a purpose, to an ambition, how do you then what's too far gone? Do you think there's a limit where you can't say turn around and look and find a reasonable partner and it's too late? Well, you just might as well buy a cat, buy a dog, die alone.
I think that's the big issue in modern dating though now is that we see these things, especially when the red pill was a thing, about women who are career oriented. Because usually they go after guys who are also career oriented. When you have two people who are, I consider career orientation to be a type of masculine, a drive is masculine energy.
Okay.
And it could be neutral, but I'm going to consider it for this argument to be masculine.
Well, because it usually deals with being more aggressive when it comes to certain spaces, whether it's sales, whether it's tech, you have to be more aggressive. Think about what he just said. You've got to work longer hours.
Yeah.
Other people think it's unfair and a fair advantage, but you're willing to give up that to obtain a higher level.
But there's two people in a relationship doing that exact same thing. Okay. But now you have to run a household, and if there are kids involved, you have to take care of kids. But you have two people working long hours trying to maintain this.
So would you say that's not healthy? Because then, that's where nannies, maids, cooks, all this other stuff comes in, babysitting, all this stuff comes in.
A lot of I consider elite people who make the 6-7 figure income to do hire out caretakers for the home. So, it is possible in that regard, but I feel like that also takes away from the interpersonal aspect of that.
Well, absolutely. But then you got to think too, not on that level. Teachers spend more times with children than the actual parents do.
I think that's trash. I think it's when you send your kid to school to be raised by a teacher. That's
6 to 8 hours a day. You're at work, working, right. And obviously they're going to school, being school. They think all this indoctrination's been happening the last few years.
Right,
for that reason, you're not aware of what's going on with your kids when they bring home their little homework, but who's to say nothing else is going on? So I think this is a very fascinating take on this, man.
One of the most uncomfortable correlations that I've found over the last few years is that as gender inequality, pay inequality between the genders increases, relationship satisfaction for both men and women increases as well. Decreases. The more egalitarian, the more equal the pay, the less satisfied both sexes are.
How do you feel about that?
Well, isn't that kind of what the whole point of the whole DEI thing was? To kind of to deal with, dispel the whole age gap thing and to bring women up to the same paying structure as men, regardless of...
Well, I think it also contributes to the fact that and I'm not saying some, I'm going to say some women, many women, they when they're looking for a guy, they want a guy who makes more money than them.
Absolutely.
So when you're in a position where a woman's making more money now the goalpost has been moved. Mm-hmm. Now they want a guy who makes more money than them, and so on and so forth. So
but then it gets even more unrealistic.
Oh yeah.
Because how many people are actually making that type of income? We all know the middle class has been gone for a long time. But how many people are going to make that time? So if you're making as an example, if you're making $165,000 a year, how many men, and obviously leaving out sexual orientation, leaving out gender, height, all these other preferences or whatever, how many men are excelling at that level that you're wanting?
Right.
It's not realistic at all. And even if they are, if you're not the only one wanting them, there's more of you wanting to fight for that man that's the single-digit percentage, whether it's 2 to 5%, whatever it is, fighting for that one person. So how do you obtain that then? It doesn't seem like it's a realistic thing, man, to go for.
You can't expect to meet a goal if you're going to continue to move that goalpost back or higher or whatever.
So do you think there should be a point whether male or female, or is this more female? Maybe should look at this, that you got to get to a point where you say enough is enough, that you just need to settle and compromise on something?
Well, when we say settle and compromise...
I know those words they have such negative connotation. It's not a bad thing, though.
Yeah.
To just say, hold on, let me take a step back. I've gotten what I want. I keep going.
This is women's preferences in men.
Okay.
So we can talk about men's preferences in women and the beauty standard, which I think is the counter to this argument, is men's expectation how women need to look. And I think that's absolute bullshit.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, I think the beauty standard's trashed. When it comes to compromising and settling, I think you need to find what's good for your situation and stop trying to keep up with what the world is telling you you need to keep up with, what your girlfriends are telling you need. What you don't need that.
I never understood why people take advice from people who never even were there or willing to take a shot in the gym. Like a bunch of people are telling you how you should move, and it's like, look at the reflection, look at the fruit they bear.
Yeah.
Should we really be listening to these people? Should you really be taking advice from a bunch of people who don't even know who they are?
Yeah, but a bunch of coaches who've never played the sport that they're coaching.
Absolutely.
Men who are in relationships where the woman is the primary breadwinner are 50% more likely to use erectile dysfunction medication. Where
Jesus
a
Christ.
woman is contributing more than 70% of the household income, the marriage is twice as likely to end in divorce. Women...
I don't like these numbers.
These are spooky. There's some statistics.
I don't like these
But
numbers.
if you not notice, especially the last 5 years, with hims and now hers, there's all these different things getting pushed.
Yeah.
Hardcore. I see advertisement every day for it.
Roman, hymns, hers, Blue Chew, all that.
All of that, especially during COVID, it was being marketed hard. Could be because more people were home too. But
Home and OnlyFans and
exactly.
It's,
But man, why is that? Do you think that erectile dysfunction increases in relationships like that? Is it because the man feels inferior and emasculated? Does the woman think more high of herself, so thus she doesn't respect the man due to the less income? What is that? What would create that dynamic to where the man has issues like that, man?
well, I mean, I think it can also come from there's probably not as much intimacy going on.
Okay, so that could be something
Because if she's always out working,
Mm-hmm.
Contributing to 70% of the income, she's coming home tired. There's not much intimacy going on. And and considering you're a good dude and not cheating, then
that doesn't sound like a good deal, man.
I'm now through being a father looking at the subset of young men who are absolutely looking to crush it. And the advice they're being given is so horrific.
What, like?
Well, that doesn't seem mentally healthy. And, I think it's much better for you to sort of enjoy this time with everyone else. And, it's just like watering down raw ambition. And, was it Ludacris who said, get out the way? Get out of the way of these people. These people want to invest and blow your socks off and just do amazing things. And there's some administrator or nanny or Nurse Ratched who's like, well, that would be arrogant. We can't have that. And you're saying, I don't think you understand it, but ambition is a necessary input for certain humans. And if you sit there and say, why do you have a right to innovate when nobody else has innovated? Or don't you realize that your go-getter personality during the COVID situation was based on your privilege? And in fact, a lot of other people are suffering from mental health. You're just thinking, why am I taking the most promising people and tying them to the most damaged people? Why not instead take the most promising people and have them get a PhD by the age of 21 and study what to do for their fellow souls who are struggling?
That was a lot that he revealed there, and I don't know if you noticed that too. I don't know if did you get that most of your life because you've always been ambitious. You've always been a big dreamer because you've always yearned for more, bigger than where you were and everything. Did you ever think and feel like or seen that? It seems like it was always downplayed, that you were told that it was too much, that it's too ambitious, that you need to, it's coming off as being aggressive, or, what about everyone else, or what other people are going to think. Did you ever get that?
I mean, I have. And normally I would be against that. But I have a new perspective on that.
Okay.
Because I have a perspective saying that you shouldn't follow your dreams.
Okay.
You shouldn't. About 80% of people who follow their dreams go broke doing it.
Absolutely. Okay. The person that's looking out to get the grand slam should necessarily not do that? Is that too grandiose?
I'm saying that it's highly unlikely. Like the statistics, the numbers are not in their favor.
Okay.
Most people who go for that, they don't land in the stars when they're shooting for the sky. They land back on the ground.
Okay. So what would be a more effective way? So are you saying that they should never aim up?
I'm saying that I don't want to buy your mixtape at Quick Trip, dude.
Is that still happening?
That's what I'm saying. No.
But what are you saying is that we should the watering down aspect? But what they're saying is just being completely washed down, and extinguished, which I've seen too.
Not complete. What I'm saying is you have to be realistic with your goals. You have to be extremely realistic with your goals.
I think that is more a better.
Like we're taught to dream and to aspire and to have an ambition and to do these things. Oh, I'm gonna be a platinum selling rapper. No, you're not.
No,
you would have more success learning music theory and being a platinum selling producer. And there's no wrong in that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely
at all.
not.
But it's about adjusting that expectation.
I agree. But still, why is it that you find that, especially when it comes to being young men, why are they being told that it's not real, that they need to just, that's aggressive, or you need to kind of settle down a little bit more, maybe sit more and, be around, be like other people, have some fun, don't be ambitious. Why are they told to not go after?
You ever notice there's two sides to that. There'll be the people who are going to downplay that, and then there's going to be people who are going to be uplifting the women who are doing the exact same thing, showing the exact same ambition.
And I was about to bring that up. It's not the same energy for women. They don't tell women to slow down. People are slowly saying, hey, going into your career, pouring into that, you're getting the outcome he's talking about, the diminished return. Yeah, you're achieving all this. Yeah, you got the PhDs. You're double degreed. You're making all this money. You got 2 houses. Whoop-de-doo. You're working. You're a boss, independent. But look at what you're getting in return. You're getting the same outcomes as the girls who aren't even performing well.
Right.
You just have more money, more debt. That's the only difference.
What's going on? This is Editing Malcolm Eugene here. And I just wanted to add a little bit more to this argument. I feel like there's a lot of different expectations that are put on women from a lot of different angles. And right now we're talking about the angle that society puts on them to be very career-oriented, be successful, and take on all these new opportunities that are available. But there's also a lot of family aspect. There's a lot of family pool. So, like, you'll have women in different cultures where the mother and grandmother are like, when are you going to give me grandbabies? When are you going to get married? And different things like that. So there's a lot of different pressures that are definitely apparent in society when it comes to the social choices that women have. But I wanted to add that in there just for context.
So why is it more of a narrative? It's just like we've overcompensated so much with that. Why aren't they listening and saying, hey, you need to realize that you're going to look up and you're going to be worse off than the men who do this?
Right.
Why is that? Was it by design and by programming that they did this?
Well,
through feminism?
I think in the world when there's a lot of oppression and a lot of wrongdoing, we have a tendency to overcorrect on a lot of things. And we've noticed that throughout media, throughout the workforce. And I think no one knows how to fix mistakes to where it's fair for both sides.
But does fair even exist, though?
Oh, I mean, yeah, fair is an illusion.
Okay, I agree. But at the same time, look what all this has gotten everybody. Look at everything that has happened with this. Where's this oppression happening at? Has when was the last time anybody been told they can't do something, especially a woman? When's the last time that's happened?
I think you would be surprised. And I think it really depends on the industry.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, I guess if you're more of a white collar, certain, maybe like a
stereotypical job that most men would do, and then you get a woman out there doing it. I mean, she's not going to have a good first week. And that's not saying that she can't perform. She can perform great. But I'm saying the judgment amongst her peers, because there is someone invading the boys' club.
Well, I can see that, and I've heard of examples like that, but for the most part, it seems like more, especially with society, it's towards women. They control the media, they control everything. All they got to say is that they are being mistreated, whether the allegations are real or not, and full-on investigation that happens.
I mean, maybe, yeah, the media, yeah, but there are certain aspects in life where men do have control. I call it the boys' club. Like
of course, I agree that still is, but for the most part, men are held responsible for things. You're going to be held accountable by other men or by law. I mean, it's just usually generally how it happens.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, like I said, this narrative that's going on hasn't been working for anybody, man. Do you think we'll ever get back from this, or are we going to always continue to drift apart? Because I don't know if we're not having, nobody's having kids. People are still having kids, obviously, maybe the people who shouldn't be having kids. But
yeah, it's
but what are we gonna do? The depopulation thing is going on, and the replacement theory thing is happening right now.
Yep.
So what are we gonna do to correct this? What can be done? Can there anything be done to adjust this? Because we've overcompensated for it, overadjusted. Do you think there's a way to ever go back from this?
I mean, honestly, no. This is just kind of where we've evolved to in society and civilization. We're on that downturn of our civilization.
So it's coming to an end.
Yep, we are Atlantis, and we are going under.
Well, Days of Noah, numerous references. So, wow. Now we know the truth. Wow. That was a lot, man. We got a little bit more?
I mean, we can end it here. I mean, you guys want to check out the video?
It's good stuff.
Go subscribe to Chris Williamson. He has a lot of great content out there.
Absolutely.
And,
shout out to him.
I love his work and his interviews. He does really, really, really good interviews.
Absolutely.
Definitely a great video. Subscribe to him, and then right after you do that, subscribe to us.
Yep. Like, comment, do all the shebang-a-bang.
With that said, my name is the man, the myth, the philanthropist, Malcolm Eugene.
And
you had a week to come up with something, man.
I did have a week. Why can't I just be Will Robertson here?
Rosa Parks' husband had a car. We're outro.
Bro, that is